Hello and welcome to Zolder. A little over a month ago I'd never driven this track in any sim, but it's already become one of my favourite circuits. So I'm particularly excited to come back to one of the RaceRoom rookie servers today to take on the BMW M235i Cup. Only last week we took the very same car out for a spin at Zandvoort as part of my RaceRoom VRP prize giveaway. So with the feel of the car still fresh in the mind, I was able to put in a pretty decent showing in qualifying. We've put it on the third row, qualified fifth with a time of 1:42.5. We're only 0.5 of a second off the driver in second and 0.7 off the pole position man, so we're in the real shout here of mounting a podium challenge. But before we go to the grid to find out how we get on, I must just remind you about my RaceRoom competition. There's 1,000 VRP up for grabs and it's not too late to enter. The competition is open until this Sunday, November the 7th, and all you've got to do is guess my lap time around Zandvoort. It's the last video I published before this one, so once you've done watching my race here, go and check it out and see how you can enter. But for now, we've got to focus on Zolder, and more specifically the 4 cars in front of me as we wait for 5 red lights, which are going to turn into 5 green lights to get us underway for 15 minutes of frantic BMW M235i Cup action. Now, turn 1 is particularly treacherous on the first lap, so you'll see that I deliberately run it a little bit wide. That's because I knew that Joe Voot was on the inside of me, and I anticipated that he might drift it out wide into my line. Thankfully, I guessed right, and there was no harm done, and we've managed to maintain that 5th position. Behind us in the rearview mirror we can see Rosa and De Pablo in 6th and 7th, but they're having a right battle, swapping a bit of paint as we come through this section, and that's going to allow Rick Hendrickson to pass the both of them. Now, Rick's a fellow member of our SCB community, and I always feel a lot more confident when I've got a community colleague behind us. We race with these guys a lot, and you get to know them, you get to trust them. So I feel a lot more comfortable knowing that I've got Rick behind me. Now, he's a very good driver, so I suspect he's got the pace to not only stick with me, but also to mount a challenge to get around me. But at least I know that when that challenge does come, it's going to be fair and it's going to be respectful. Now, we did have a 1 second advantage over him, but that gap has just been halved, so Rick clearly had a much better exit out of that chicane. So we've got Hendrickson just behind us in 6th, but up front it looks like the leading 4 are beginning to make a break for it. Farner, the pole position man, looks like he might have the pace to clear off. He's already opened up a lead of more than a second over Pisaric in 2nd, and then we've got Sven Werker in 3rd, Joe Vogt in 4th. We actually managed to take that hairpin pretty well, and not only have we shaved a couple of tenths off the gap to Vogt ahead, but we've also opened up some distance between myself and Hendrickson behind. It's now 1.3 up to 1.5 seconds as we begin the charge down to the start and finish line. But we're going to lose the driver in 7th, Lars Hermann. He's headed straight down pit lane, but I'm not sure at the moment whether it's for a drive-through or whether he's picked up some damage during that frantic first lap of Zolder. We'll go and check out a replay shortly, but for now, we consolidate in 5th position and we're closing on Vogt ahead. The gap is down to half a second, so we're looking good here. Okay, here's a replay of the start, and keep your eye on the driver in 2nd on the right, Pisaric. He swoops right over to the racing line as quickly as he can, threads that BMW into the smallest of gaps to maintain 2nd position. Meanwhile, a bit further back, that's me just easing off to let Vogt through. But all in all, it was a good start, and my goal was just to maintain my 5th position safely, and that's what we did. Other drivers, though, weren't so lucky. We saw Hermann end up in the pits, and that's why he just takes a clip from behind, which sends him into the wall, and it's clearly picked up damage as we see other BMWs going off in all directions. But yeah, watch Hermann here. He gets back on the straight, and he's clearly got some handling problems because that car doesn't want to go in a straight line. And we also lost another one on lap 1, Gwillen. He's the driver making a move up the inside here, and he's a victim of the lack of space and the carnage that you get in the mid-pack of these rookie races. You can see how close the racing is. They're swapping paint all the way through this section. He just gets a little helping hand that sends him even harder into the wall than Hermann. And yeah, if we switch to the onboard view of the driver behind Gwillen, we can just see exactly how difficult it is during this opening lap when you've got so many cars on such a tight circuit. You can see the contact everywhere, and there's the contact that ultimately sends Gwillen into the concrete wall. Back to the live action now. We've managed to maintain our 1.5 second advantage over Rick Hendrickson in 6th, but look how close it is in front of us. Yes, we've lost the leader, Farner. As predicted, he's cleared off, but the rest of us are separated by less than 1.5 seconds. Well, I'm just doing everything I can to try and stick with Vogt ahead. He's actually quicker than me through the 2 sections we've just come through, the 2 chicanes. But here is where I seem to be stronger than him. Look how much we close in on the brakes as we enter that hairpin. So I've definitely got a speed advantage around this part of the track. It's whether we can make it count, though, and find a way through. Approaching the final chicane then, and you can see just how close it is between Pisaric in 2nd, Verker in 3rd, Vogt in 4th and me in 5th. And we're going to cross the start-finish line with less than 1.5 seconds separating the 4 of us. And look at the lap times as well that pop up on the leaderboard. We were by far the fastest of this pack in that last lap. We lapped in the 142s, whereas the 3 drivers ahead were all in the 143s. So that's really encouraging. We can make a push here. But while we're focusing on the cars in front, it looks like behind we may have lost Rick Hendrickson, sadly, because that gap is really opening up now. 5.5 seconds, and in fact, yeah, he's disappearing down the order. That's a real shame for the SCB driver Hendrickson. We'll check out the replay in a minute and see what's happened to him. But for now, we're watching the battle in front because Verker is trying his very hardest to get around Pisaric here. Is he going to manage it? It looks like Verker's got a much better drive over the crest of the hill. He's shaping up a move on the inside into the 2nd chicane. Is he? Yes. They're side by side. Has he got enough to get it done? They're still side by side. Oh, that's a great move from Verker. He's taken 2nd position. Pisaric is going to try and fight right back. Has he got the speed to get it done? No, because Verker's shut the door and we've lost Pisaric. He's gone off. Vogt's been promoted up into the final podium place and we're in 4th. We're still 0.4 of a second behind Vogt. We know we're faster than him around this part of the track. Is there anything we can do to snatch 3rd position? Not around there, there isn't. Vogt held his line superbly, but I'll be interested to see what happened to Pisaric to cause that crash. But before we do, let's just go back a bit earlier in the lap to see what happened to Rick Hendrickson, because he was looking pretty good behind me, but yeah, he just lost it in turn 2 there and slid into the barrier. And a few corners later, we saw Verker in the silver and yellow car make this fantastic move up the inside into the 2nd chicane and really timed it to perfection there, gets the pass, ties it up and then shuts the door. That really is a textbook Zolder pass, but Pisaric is going to fight back. He's going to have a look up the inside, and I suspect he might have picked up suspension damage on that curb. Let's see if we can get a better view of it from the onboard, and I know from experience how lethal these curbs can be. I had my GT3 endurance race here ruined a few weeks ago from that damage I picked up on that very chicane, and there's the clip, which I think must have caused the damage because it sent him off violently. Back to the live action, and as you can see, we're just beginning to lose a bit of ground on Vogt ahead. He's opened up a 1 second advantage in 3rd, and a bit further ahead still, Verker is now 2.5 seconds clear in 2nd, but we've got a back marker to deal with now. Verker's managed to get around him on that final chicane, but this is going to be a crucial part of the race. Can Vogt and I get around Patrick, the back marker? Watch Vogt, he's suddenly going to make a move to try it up the inside, and it doesn't pay off because he can't get the car stopped. He runs out to the gravel, and that's going to gift us 3rd place. Straight away I looked at my rearview mirror to see just how much time that cost Vogt, but it doesn't seem to have slowed him down too much. He's got back onto the track and he's only 1 second behind, but now we've got to worry about trying to get around Patrick safely ourselves. He's going to leave a little bit of a gap up the inside. I was hesitant about going for it, but I decided to, and we get past Patrick safely. So now can Vogt do the same at the 2nd attempt? They're side by side coming down the straight, so I suspect Patrick is just going to let him by, and yes, he has done as we approach chicane number 1. So let's get through this one safely. A bit messy on my part. We took a bit too much off the curb on the inside, but we're away, and we've got Vogt 0.9 of a second behind. Yeah, here's a replay of the incident with the back marker, and I'm not sure if Vogt just suddenly changed his mind at the last second to try and make that move up the inside, but it cost him dearly because he ran way too wide, took the gravel, and that's what let me through into 3rd place. We fast forwarded now to the final 4 minutes of the race because in all honesty not much else happened after we managed to get that third position. We maintained a good pace, kept it consistent, and as a result the same thing happened on most laps. We saw Vogt get a little bit faster through this section of the track. That's no surprise. He showed he had a bit more pace than me through these chicanes in the early stages, and as you can see there, he's managed to close the gap right in the rearview mirror there. It's 0.5 of a second, but from here on in, once we get on the gas, I'm a little bit stronger and I can start opening out the gap again and stretching that lead back to around a second. And this hairpin here is where we make the majority of our time back. We seem to be able to find a better line through there than Vogt, and we get on the gas much earlier, and that's what gives us our advantage back. As you can see, 0.9 again. And that was pretty much the story of the final few laps as well, so we're going to jump straight to the last lap now. As you can see, I'm still being pressurised by Vogt, and we're just in the first of the two chicanes where I know that he's faster than me, but this is the last time that we'll do them, so all I need to do is stay tight, defend if needed, and we should have this third position wrapped up. I'm extra cautious coming through this second chicane because, again, I know what damage those curbs can do if you hit them. So the last thing I want to do is wreck my BMW on the very last lap. So we've got through okay. Vogt's within half a second of me, but this is where I'm a bit stronger than him. So as long as I hit the apex here, we're all good. We don't want to run wide, and we don't run wide. We do hit the apex. There's no way for Vogt to come past. And again, we get that better drive out of the hairpin. So I think we've wrapped it up here. We just need to get through the last chicane safely, and we're going to pick up a second successive podium in the RaceRoom rookie servers. So yeah, really happy with that one. Last week we got a third position in the F4 race at Brands Hatch Indy, and we've repeated it. We've got another third place, this time in the BMW M235i Cup at Zolder. It may not have been the most exciting or dramatic race that I've ever been involved in, but it was certainly a satisfying result, and we can see the classifieds there. I managed to get a fastest lap time of 1:42.2. So that's really encouraging because it shows we carried on improving through the race because we bettered our qualifying time. And from the looks of the other fastest laps of those drivers around me, we've certainly got that podium position on merit today. Well, that's it for me from RaceRoom this week. I'll be waiting for the new rank schedule to get released on Thursday so I can plan what races I'm going to do at RaceRoom next weekend. While you're waiting for that, please do go and check out my RaceRoom competition video if you haven't entered already. And don't forget to leave a like if you've enjoyed watching this one. Have a good week, everyone, and hopefully I'll see you on the grid soon.